Have you ever been caught in a conversation where something just felt fundamentally well off?
Mhm.
Like you and the other person were talking right past each other, maybe? Or you sense a kind of hidden agenda lurking beneath perfectly polite words?
Oh, definitely. Or those repetitive arguments that just seem to go nowhere.
Exactly. Or maybe some interactions just leave you feeling completely drained, but you can't quite put your finger on why.
Right. Well, you're not alone in that, and you're certainly not imagining things. That subtle sense of unspoken rules or maybe underlying manipulation in our daily social lives,
Yeah.
that's precisely what Eric Berne, the pioneering psychiatrist, really illuminated in his groundbreaking 1964 book, Games People Play.
Okay, games people play. So Bernay didn't just point out these odd dynamics. He actually gave us a framework, right?
Yep.
Transactional analysis.
Transactional analysis, exactly. It's a way to truly understand the hidden currents running through our social interactions. It's like he, pulled back the curtain, revealed the subtle dramas we all get tangled up in sometimes.
Right.
So our deep dive today is really all about decoding Bernay's core ideas. We want to show you how to spot these games, as he called them, in everyday life.
And maybe figure out how to connect beyond them.
That's the goal, what it means to truly connect.
Think of this as your shortcut, maybe, to becoming a better observer of human interaction. We're aiming for those aha moments about why people, and maybe even you, act the way you do sometimes.
It's a fascinating journey into the mechanics of our social selves, all thanks to Bernay and Games People Play.
Okay, so to really get into Eric Bernay's games people play, where do we start? What's the foundation?
Well, Bernay says we have to begin with our fundamental drives. Why do we even seek connection? He talks about this core human need, an innate hunger for interaction, which he calls stimulus hunger.
Stimulus hunger.
Yeah, it's foundational. He actually references some early, quite upsetting studies on infants, those deprived of consistent physical handling. They could suffer really profound developmental setbacks, sometimes even fatal ones.
Wow. So it wasn't just about, affection.
No, it was deeper. The physical stimulation itself proved vital for survival.
And that applies to adults, too.
Berne thought so. He points to things like the historical dread of solitary confinement or experiments where sensory deprivation actually led to temporary mental disturbances, even psychosis.
So this hunger for connection, it's really fundamental.
Absolutely. Berne even had this memorable phrase for it. If you are not stroked, your spinal cord will shrivel up.
That's dramatic.
It is. But it really conveys the biological necessity of human interaction. It's a survival thing.
Okay. So once that basic need for stimulus is met, what happens then? Does it change?
It evolves, yeah. In adults, this need shifts into what Berne called recognition hunger.
Recognition hunger.
Right. And here, stroking becomes a much broader term. It's any act that implies recognizing another person's presence. It could be a hug, sure, but also just a nod, eye contact.
Just acknowledging someone exists.
Exactly. He called it the fundamental unit of social action.
And he had evidence for this, too.
He did. He cited some animal studies, kind of controversial maybe, where even painful electric shocks were apparently as effective as gentle handling in promoting the animal's health.
Really? That's counterintuitive.
It is. But the takeaway wasn't about pleasantness. It was about the biological advantage of any social interaction over none at all. It just underlines how deep this need goes.
Okay, so we need stimulus, we need recognition.
Mhm.
What else drives us, according to Berne?
Well, once those hungers are reasonably satisfied, another crucial human need pops up. Structure hunger.
Structure hunger, meaning
Meaning our deep-seated need to organize our waking hours, to avoid the profound discomfort of boredom.
the what do I do now problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Berne was really echoing thinkers like Kierkegaard on the evils of unstructured time. He argued that long-term boredom can feel like emotional starvation. We have to fill our time.
But how we fill it matters.
Immensely. And Berne lists 5 main ways humans structure time. There's the simple stuff like activity, work. It gives you a framework. Then rituals, stereotyped interactions like greetings. Hello, how are you? Fine, thanks.
Got it.
Then pastimes, that's more like semi-ritualistic chit-chat.
Right.
Talking about the weather, sports, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But the really significant ones for understanding his theories are games, which is the core of our discussion today, and finally what he called the end of the line, intimacy.
And he argues that most of our really significant social interactions actually take the form of these games.
That's his point, yeah, because genuine prolonged intimacy is actually quite rare. And for many people, it can be psychologically challenging, even frightening.
So games fill that void.
They do. They structure time, They offer predictable payoffs or advantages like relieving tension, getting strokes, maintaining a sense of balance, even if the games themselves aren't always, fun or healthy.
Okay, so if games are so central, what are they actually made of? This leads us to another big concept in games people play, right? Ego states.
Ego states, exactly. Berne described these as observable shifts, changes in our posture, our voice, the words we use, even our feelings that signal a shift in our psychological mindset.
And he stressed these aren't just roles we play, are they?
No, not just roles. He saw them as actual psychological realities within us. He outlined 3 main ones: the parent, the adult, and the child.
Okay, let's break those down. The parent first.
Right. Berne famously said everyone carries his parents around inside of him. This ego state is like an echo of our actual parents or significant authority figures. It can be active, telling us, do as I do, or it can be more of an influence, like, do as I say. It's where our rules, our shoulds and shouldn'ts tend to live.
Okay, the internal rule book.
Kind of. Then there's the adult ego state. Berne says everyone has an adult. This is the part of us that's focused on objective reality. Processing data, assessing probabilities, figuring things out rationally.
Like the computer of the personality.
In a way, yeah, it's essential for survival, and it ideally mediates between the parent's rules and the child's impulses.
Okay, and the child.
The child ego state. Berne explained that everyone carries a little boy or girl around inside of him. These are what he called archaic relics from our actual childhood, still active within us.
So tantrums and impulses.
Sometimes, sure, but it's much more than that. It's also the source of our intuition, our creativity, spontaneous joy, curiosity. Berne really liked the term childlike rather than childish to emphasize its value.
All right, the positive aspect.
Exactly. So these ego states, parent, adult, child, are constantly interacting within us and, crucially, between people. And that interaction is what Berne called a transaction.
A transaction. The basic unit of social life.
The basic unit of social intercourse, yes. A stimulus from one person's ego state and a response from another person's ego state.
And sometimes these are straightforward.
They can be. Those are complementary transactions. The communication flows smoothly because the response is appropriate and expected, and the ego states are, well, complementary, like a surgeon asking for a scalpel adult to adult. Clear, efficient.
Or maybe a child asking for a drink from a parent.
Right, child asking a nurturing parent. As long as the transactions remain complementary, Berne said, communication can, in theory, go on indefinitely.
But it doesn't always, does it?
Definitely not. Things get tricky with cross-transactions. This is where communication just breaks down because the response is not what the stimulus expected. The vectors, as Berne put it, get crossed.
Can you give an example?
Sure, a classic one. Person A asks an adult question, like, do you know where my cufflinks are? Just asking for information.
Okay.
An appropriate adult response would be, yes, they're on the dresser. No, I haven't seen them. But if person B responds from their child state to person A's perceived parent state, like, you always blame me for everything.
Okay, that's crossed.
Totally crossed.
Yeah.
Communication stops. The original question is ignored, and now you're dealing with accusations and hurt feelings.
Right, and this leads us towards games.
It does, because the most complex type, the one central to games people play, is the ulterior transaction.
Ulterior, meaning hidden.
Exactly. These involve more than 2 ego states operating at the same time. There's a surface level, the social level, and a hidden psychological level. And Berne points out the outcome is almost always determined by that hidden psychological level.
Okay, this sounds like where the manipulation can creep in.
It often is. Think of a salesman talking to a housewife, Berne's example. Social level, adult to adult. This vacuum cleaner is better, but you probably can't afford it.
Oof, okay.
But the psychological level, the salesman's adult is actually aiming a message at the housewife's child. I bet you can't afford it. It's a challenge.
Ah, I see.
And if her child ego state bites, thinking, I'll show him, she might respond seemingly adult to adult, that's the one I'll take. The purchase isn't really about the vacuum cleaner, it's about her child winning that hidden challenge.
Well, okay, that makes sense. So we've got the drives, the ego states, the transactions. Now we can finally nail down what exactly is a game, in Berne's terms, from games people play.
Right. He gives a very precise definition. A game is an ongoing series of complementary ulterior transactions progressing to a well-defined, predictable outcome.
Okay, let's unpack that. Ongoing series, ulterior, predictable outcome.
Key features are, it's recurring, often feels repetitive, looks plausible on the surface, But critically, there's always a concealed motivation and a payoff.
A payoff. And game doesn't mean fun. Right?
Absolutely not. Berne is very clear on this. He says football can be grim business, and so can the game he called alcoholic. The point isn't fun. The point is that the emotions involved, while real, are regulated by unspoken rules.
Regulated.
And every game, according to Berne, is fundamentally dishonest. There's that hidden layer. And the outcome has a dramatic quality. There's a twist, a reveal, a feeling of aha or gotcha.
Okay, can we look at a specific example? I know games people play is full of
No,
them.
definitely. The classic one Berne used to illustrate the whole theory is a marital game called If It Weren't For You, or IWFY.
IWFY.
So the setup is usually Mrs. White complains constantly that her husband restricts her social life. If it weren't for you, she says, I could go out dancing, take classes, have fun.
Sounds familiar.
Right. But here's the twist Berne observed, often in therapy. If the husband changes, maybe he becomes more permissive, says, okay, honey, go dancing. Mrs. White doesn't rush out the door.
No. What happens?
She might find herself suddenly anxious or discover, maybe to her own surprise, that she actually has a deep fear of dancing or socializing or whatever it was she claimed he was stopping her from doing.
Whoa. So the restriction was convenient.
Exactly. Berne's analysis is that her child ego state shrewdly chose a domineering partner precisely because his restrictions provided a perfect excuse to avoid situations she secretly feared. His prohibitions actually served her hidden needs.
That's quite a revelation. So the aim of the game isn't really freedom.
No. The primary aim is often reassurance. It's not that I'm afraid, it's that he won't let me. And vindication. It's not that I'm not trying, it's that he holds me back. It protects her from facing her own fears.
And the payoff. What did she get out of playing?
Berne breaks down payoffs into several categories. Internally, she avoids confronting her phobias. Externally, it helps structure her time complaining about her husband becomes a pastime. It provides a stable, if negative, dynamic for the marriage.
And it affects her friendships, too.
Sure. The game transforms into the pastime if it weren't for him when she talks with her friends. It influences who she connects with, usually people who will play along.
And Berne even talks about an existential advantage.
Yes. Playing IWFY constantly reinforces Mrs. White's underlying belief or life position, perhaps something like, all men are tyrants. It justifies her deeper fears or decisions made long ago.
The whole self-contained system, almost.
It really is.
So how do you stop a game like that? What's the antithesis, as Berne calls it?
For IWFY, the antithesis is simply permissiveness. If the husband stops playing his assigned role, if he says, go ahead, instead of don't you dare, the game collapses. Then her underlying fears are exposed. She can no longer blame him. This can initially lead to what Berne called despair. But in therapy, ideally, it could shift to an adult realization, maybe even humorous laughter. Oh boy, there I go again. Recognizing the pattern.
That's a really powerful breakdown of just one game from games people play. It makes you wonder, where do we even learn these complex patterns?
Well, Berne is pretty clear that we start learning them very early. From our earliest months, really, through everyday experiences in the family, we often mimic the games our parents play.
So parents teach procedures, like how to eat with a fork, and rituals like saying please and thank you.
Right. But they often unconsciously teach games too. These games form the basic emotional script of the family. And Berne argues that the games we favor end up shaping our lives, determining our ultimate destiny, as he put it.
That's a heavy thought. Is there a part of us that's like orchestrating this?
Berne had a term for that too. He talked about the shrewd, sometimes manipulative adult aspect of the child ego state, the part that figures out how the world works early on. He sometimes called it the professor.
The professor. Okay.
It's this inner professor that often intuits how to set up situations to get the payoff the child needs or wants, setting the stage for the game.
But why do we need games if they're dishonest and limiting?
That's the paradox. Berne argued they are often both necessary and desirable.
Unnecessary.
Because, as we said, opportunities for genuine, sustained intimacy are rare and can feel threatening. Games provide structure for our time, they give us tropes, even negative ones are better than none, and they help maintain psychological stability, even if it's a bit precarious. They fit into our life script.
Okay. So they serve a function, even if it's flawed.
Can we touch on a few other common games Berne identified? Games people play has so many memorable ones.
Absolutely. Let's see. Alcoholic is a big one.
Right. What's the game there, according to Berne? It's not just about drinking, is it? No. For Berne, the drinking is often just the overt activity. The real psychological payoff in the game of alcoholic is frequently the hangover, the self-blame, the attention, even negative, from rescuers or persecutors. It's a complex drama with multiple roles: persecutor, rescuer, patsy, connection.
Interesting. And how about, now I've got you, you son of a bitch, that name?
Naiji Saab, yeah. Can't forget that one. The aim of Naiji Saab is justification for rage. The player is essentially waiting, sometimes unconsciously, for someone else to make a small mistake, a tiny overcharge, a slight oversight.
And then they pounce.
Exactly. They unleash disproportionate anger, feeling utterly justified. It confirms their existential position, maybe something like, people can't be trusted, or everyone's out to get me. The antithesis is just impeccable behavior, and clear agreements don't give them the opening.
Okay, another one. See what you made me do. WYMD.
Ah, yes. The blame game classic. The player gets engrossed in something, maybe deliberately, then an interruption happens, someone walks in, asks a question.
And the player makes a mistake.
Or pretends to. They steal something, type the wrong key, whatever. Then they turn on the intruder. See what you made me do. The payoff is avoiding responsibility and getting to express anger vindication.
I think we've all seen that one play out.
Oh, for sure. Parents with kids, bosses with staff. It's everywhere.
And you mentioned, why don't you yes but earlier.
Yeah.
Why do IB Berne called this the original game?
It was one of the first he analyzed, yeah. Someone presents a problem looking helpless. Others offer suggestions. Why don't you try X?
And the player shoots them all down.
Every single one. Yes, but. Followed by a reason why it won't work. The hidden payoff is proving that no one can solve their problem, making others feel inadequate, and allowing the player to avoid taking action or facing their own issues.
And the way out is to stop offering solutions.
Exactly. Turn it back. That sounds tough. What are you going to do about it? Shifts the responsibility right back.
One more quick one. Wooden leg.
Wooden leg. This is using any kind of disadvantage, real, exaggerated, or even imagined as a perpetual excuse. What do you expect from me? I've got a wooden leg, or a bad back, or a difficult childhood, or...
So the payoff is just not having to try.
Pretty much. Avoidance of challenge, evasion of responsibility. The antithesis is similar to why DYB refuse to accept the excuse as definitive. Focus on what they can do, what they expect of themselves.
This framework from games people play is just so powerful for understanding everyday interactions. But what's the point of just spotting games? What's the alternative?
The ultimate goal for Berne isn't just analyzing games, it's transcending them. It's achieving autonomy.
Autonomy. And what did he mean by that specifically?
He defined it as the release or recovery of three fundamental human capacities: awareness, spontaneity, and intimacy.
Okay. Let's take awareness first. What does that look like?
Berne described it beautifully. It's the capacity to see a coffee pot and hear the birds sing in one's own way, and not the way one was taught.
Seeing things fresh, without labels.
Exactly. He used an example. A child might just delight in birdsong, purely experiencing it. Then a parent comes along and says, "That's a jay, that's a sparrow." The experience shifts from sensory delight to intellectual classification. The child starts seeing birds as jays or sparrows, maybe losing some of that original pure awareness.
Living in the here and now.
Precisely. Not lost in past scripts or future worries, but fully present to what is.
Okay. Then spontaneity.
Spontaneity is the freedom to choose and express your feelings authentically, drawing from your full repertoire parent, adult, and child feelings without being compelled by game rules. It's genuine expression, not the regulated emotion of a game.
Being real.
Being real, yes. And finally, intimacy.
Which isn't easy, as we've established.
No. For Berne, true intimacy is that spontaneous, game-free candidness of an aware person. It's when the authentic, uncorrupted child within us connects with another here and now without ulterior motives. It's a genuine union, not just a series of moves leading to a payoff.
So moving beyond games is about reclaiming these capacities.
That's the journey. Berne called it a kind of friendly divorce from those ingrained parental and societal scripts and game patterns we learned. It involves consciously looking at the decisions we made in childhood and choosing differently now.
It sounds like hard work.
He acknowledged it's a continual battle. The old game patterns are familiar. They offer those predictable strokes, that structure. It's easy to slip back. Achieving and maintaining autonomy takes ongoing awareness and effort.
Wow. What a deep dive that was into Eric Berne's games people play. We've really covered a lot of ground from those basic human hungers through the ego states, the transactions, the games themselves.
And finally landing on that potential for autonomy, for real connection beyond the games.
Hopefully using this framework helps you, the listener, not to judge people, but maybe to understand your own interactions a bit better.
Right. Now you have a kind of language, a lens to notice the subtle moves, the hidden levels, the payoffs happening in social situations all around you, at home, at work, everywhere.
It definitely changes how you see things, doesn't it? So as you think about all this, maybe reflect on your own life for a moment.
Yeah, maybe ask yourself, what games might I be playing? Maybe without even realizing it. What patterns might be keeping me from more awareness or spontaneity or genuine intimacy?
And perhaps the most provocative thought to leave you with. What would it actually look like, feel like, for you to simply decline the game in your own life?